With school being over or close to over, movies have a certain way of capturing graduation, either with childhood nostalgia or the overbearing weight that the future can hold. In today's video, we'll compare two of the most classic graduation films, George Lucas's American Graffiti, released in 1973, produced by Francis Ford Coppola, and the 1967 Mike Nichols's The Graduate. Both of these films explore expectations, hometowns, the personification of the future with women, and very intentional color. As always, if you guys like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And now, let's get into graduation number 1. The Graduate. The Graduate stars Dustin Hoffman as Benjamin, a college grad who returns back home and entangles himself in a messy mother-daughter love triangle. Benjamin is like the blueprint Forrest Gump.
Will you come over here a minute? Over there?
A wildly passive person who seems to be drowning in the expectations of his father.
Have you thought about graduate school?
While dealing with his own doubts about his future. As someone who's experienced this firsthand, life until the end of college has always been guided. Classes to attend to, homework to turn in, and a short-term goal of getting a diploma. But what happens when all of it is over and you're left to make decisions for the next 50 years plus of your life all on your own? Well, when Mrs. Robinson offers that guidance to Benjamin, even if just for a short while, he then gets himself into a bit of a homewrecker situation. The Graduate is all about looking at the bigger picture now outside of college. It starts verbatim with Benjamin seemingly in the asylum of an unquestioned school routine, and now has to face the bigger picture returning home. We've spent our lives on autopilot, floating from one grade to the next, and now we have to make the conscious decision to get by on our own accord. And if that wasn't one heck of a message said in the first 30 seconds of the film, just a few moments later, there's a shot of Benjamin in front of an aquarium, symbolizing to us him drowning in the expectations of his future. Later in the film, Benjamin again has to face the bigger picture once being confronted with the consequences of his actions, but we'll talk more about how all of these shot choices, the trapped animal symbolism, and how the color red versus a black, white, green, and yellow color palette suggest free will. American Graffiti. American Graffiti is a 1973 film set in the 60s, during one night when a recent high school grad, Kurt, grapples with his decision to leave his safe hometown for college the next morning.
I don't think I'm gonna be going tomorrow.
Like Dazed and Confused for the 70s, American Graffiti is the nostalgic film for its decade. There's drive-in diners, roller skates, 60s music, hairstyles, and Wolfman on the radio. It's everything everyone fears going off to college, leaving behind all that you know, your friends, your family, the girls.
Why is it every girl that comes around here is ugly?
And for Kurt, he's caught in a crossfire of choices to either be a misfit, be insecure, naive, or an adult. And that's not just implied through the dialogue, but visually as well, as Kurt wears all of the film's 4 colors as these choices. White, misfits, like John the super senior, Carol, the outcast with her sister's friends, and Bob Falfa, the out-of-towner racer. Red is insecure, like Terry, who lies to Debbie to get her to like him, and just the lower half of Lori, who, in order to feel worthwhile after sort of being dumped by Steve, goes along reluctantly with Bob.
Don't say anything and we'll get along just fine.
There's yellow as naive, like with mostly every high school-aged kid, and blue as an adult, like the way Steve tries to be after calling it off with Lori ahead of him also leaving for college, Lori herself as she tries to handle the situation as an adult.
I think you're right.
There's Mr. McGovern, a literal adult chaperoning the high school dance. There's Debbie, adult presenting, who Terry tries to get the attention of. There's Mr. Gordon, the leader of the Pharaohs, and Kurt, who flies off into a blue sky after he does decide to go. While these two boys graduate from different stages in their lives, the end result is the same, the decision to transition. And it all begins with chasing a woman. For Benjamin in The Graduate, both Mrs. Robinson and Elaine are personifications of time, the past, and the future. Now having graduated, Benjamin's adolescence is the past, but he still lets it, aka Mrs. Robinson, control him. Whether it be her, his family, or Mr. Robinson, he goes against the grain to fight for his future, aka getting with Elaine. And even when he does end up with her, it was less about the romance and more about being proactive towards his future, even if everyone's against it.
East.
Now in American Graffiti, Kurt, born and raised in the same town, knowing every girl, drives by someone he's never seen before. He spends the entire night trying to find her. When he does, he says,
"You're the most beautiful, exciting thing I've ever seen in my life, and I don't know anything about you."
Thus signifying an ignition in his desire for something new.
Any of you guys know a blonde and a white T-bird?
It's during that conversation where the opportunity to meet this girl in person would coincide with him getting on the plane to college.
No, I don't think so.
And because of his all-night adventure trying to find her, this shiny new thing, he realizes that the same excitement is all that the future also holds. Speaking of the future, Kurt's choice towards it is also symbolized in color. Outside of the blue, red, yellow, and white color scheme, it's green that symbolizes this notion. It first appears when Kurt goes to a radio station in hopes of finding the girl through Wolfman. He meets this guy who lies about himself not being the Wolfman, but does still give him sound advice after turning the red button green. Now, the entire scene becomes a metaphor, similarly to The Graduate, about looking at the bigger picture.
It's a great, big, beautiful world out there.
Did you also notice Wolfman's the first prominent character to wear a green shirt? The scene even starts with Kurt telling Wolfman that he's looking for a girl, and Wolfman responding,
"Aren't we all? He's not here."
thus implying that everyone is looking for an answer to their future, but some of us can't find it here if we're stuck in the past. Now, before the flight, we see that Steve turns from blue to yellow, staying adolescent a little longer to be with Lori, while Kurt wears green and boards the plane. Now, in The Graduate, for most of Benjamin's life, he's been told what to do, all of it coming from adults. Pleasing his dad's friends, having a drink that he didn't want or not the right kind, asking out Elaine, and then being told not
You're
to.
to get her out of your filthy mind right now.
Throughout the film, Benjamin starts to make decisions for himself, all symbolized by the color red, starting with his car. Once he gets entangled with Mrs. Robinson, his path to free will is either down the red hallway, but at first chooses to be safe by entering in a typical yellow and white colored party. When he finally makes the decision to entertain Mrs. Robinson for the night, he makes the call through a red phone booth. The first light he passes down the hallway is red, and he brushes his teeth with a red-colored toothbrush. The more he starts to feel like an adult, he wears a red striped tie, taking charge of the conversation with Mrs. Robinson in bed. Now, though Elaine's color is pink, it is something different from the constant leopard print Mrs. Robinson wears, abiding by the film's color palette. So, just like the girl in American Graffiti,
Wait a second!
this new pop of color becomes an interest for Benjamin to chase, and it's in his car that throughout the film takes him on this journey. Speaking of The Graduate, there is just so much intention behind a lot of their compositions and directing choices. Like here, when Benjamin is overlooked by both the adults and the kids. It's like he's in River Styx, stuck in the middle of these two worlds, then later verbatim saying,
You didn't see me?
It's 3 times we have to look at the bigger picture, the past, Benjamin leaving college behind, the present, twice, Benjamin still on autopilot, not making any substantial decisions, and the future when Benjamin has to start facing reality. There's also the motif of caged animals, like literally when Benjamin and Elaine are at the zoo and how he feels trapped in his decisions of the past, and then with the aquarium. As said before, the film starts with Benjamin metaphorically underwater, drowning with the expectations of his future and his overbearing father, whereas when he finally makes his own decision to get with Mrs. Robinson, the next morning he then floats above. This drive towards adulthood and free will, especially after graduation, is symbolized even in the beginning, with Mrs. Robinson tossing Benjamin's keys into his aquarium, thus meaning the only way to save yourself from drowning, whether in the past or the expectations of your future, is to pull yourself out. Graduation films are a special kind of coming of age, not where one discovers something about themselves, but finally makes a decision that transitions them from a child to adult and makes anew. Both The Graduate and American Graffiti leave us on very realistic notes. It is hard to leave all that you know behind, and while the decision to make this transition is exciting and new, it's just the first of many, many more decisions to come. Welcome to adulthood!